Which of the following configurations has the lowest output impedance? A. Fixed bias. B. Voltage divider. C. Emitter follower. D. None of the above. The correct answer is emitter follower. Which of the H parameters corresponds to RE in a common base configuration? A. HIB. B. HFB. C. HRB. D. HOB. The correct answer is HIB. Refer to this figure. Find the value of IE. A. 2 mA. B. 4 mA. C. 5 mA. D. 6 mA. The correct answer is 6 mA. Which of the following is referred to as the reverse transfer voltage ratio? A. HI. B. HR. C. HF. D. HO. The correct answer is HR. Which of the following conditions must be met to allow the use of the approximate approach in a voltage divider bias configuration? A. RE10R2. B. RE10R2. C. RE10R2. D. RE10R2. The correct answer is RE10R2. Refer to this figure. Determine the value of AV. A. 49.6. B. 5. C. 100. D. 595. The correct answer is 5. For a common emitter amplifier, the purpose of swamping is A. To minimize gain. B. To reduce the effects of RE. C. To maximize gain. D. No purpose. The correct answer is to reduce the effects of RE. What is the typical value of the current gain of a common base configuration? A. Less than 1. B. Between 1 and 50. C. Between 100 and 200. D. Undefined. The correct answer is less than 1. What is the most important R parameter for amplifier analysis? A. RB. B. RC. C. RE. D. The correct answer is RE. An emitter follower is also known as A. Common emitter amplifier. B. Common base amplifier. C. Common collector amplifier. D. Darlington pair. The correct answer is common collector amplifier. Refer to this figure. Calculate the value of VB. A. 5V. B. 3.7V. C. 20V. D. 3V. The correct answer is 3.7V. You have a need to apply an amplifier with a very high power gain. Which of the following would you choose? A. Common collector. B. Common base. C. Common emitter. D. Emitter follower. The correct answer is common emitter. What is the voltage gain of a feedback pair connection? A. 1. B. 1. C. 100. D. 100. The correct answer is 1. A common emitter amplifier has voltage gain, current gain, power gain, and input impedance. A. High low. B. High low. C. High. D. Low high. The correct answer is high low. What is the range of the input impedance of a common base configuration? A few ohms to a maximum of 50. B. 1K to 5K. C. 100K to 500K. D. 1M to 2M. The correct answer is a few ohms to a maximum of 50. The advantage that a Sziklai pair has over a Darlington pair is A. Higher current gain. B. Less input voltage is needed to turn it on. C. Higher input impedance. D. Higher voltage gain. The correct answer is less input voltage is needed to turn it on. What is the typical range of the output impedance of a common emitter configuration? A. 10 to 100. B. 1K to 5K. C. 40K to 50K. D. 500K to 1K. The correct answer is 40K to 50K. What is the unit of the parameter Ho? A volt. B ohm. C Siemens. D no unit. The correct answer is Siemens. Refer to this figure. Calculate the value of R intot. A 37.7 K. B 3.77 K. C 378. D 2.25 K. The correct answer is 3.77 K. What is the range of the current gain for BJT transistor amplifiers? A less than 1. B 1 to 100. C above 100. D all of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. What does the negative sign in the voltage gain of the common-emitter fixed bias configuration indicate? A. The output and input voltages are 180 out of phase. B. Gain is smaller than 1. C. Gain is larger than 1. D. None of the above. The correct answer is the output and input voltages are 180 out of phase. For the common-emitter fixed bias configuration, there is a phase shift between the input and output signals. A 0. B 45. C 90. D 180. The correct answer is 180. Which one of the following configurations has the lowest input impedance? A. Fixed bias. B. Common base. C. Emitter follower. D. Voltage divider. The correct answer is common base. Which of the following represents the advantages of the system approach over the R model approach? A. Thevenin's theorem can be used. B. The effect of changing the load can be determined by a simple equation. C. There is no need to go back to the AC equivalent model and analyze the entire network. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. The differential amplifier has A. 1 input and 1 output. B. 2 inputs and 2 outputs. C. 2 inputs and 1 output. D. 1 input and 2 outputs. The correct answer is 2 inputs and 1 output. The emitter follower configuration has a impedance at the input and a impedance at the output. A. Low low. B. Low high. C. High low. D. High high. The correct answer is high low. The differential amplifier produces outputs that are A. Common mode. B. In phase with the input voltages. C. The sum of the two input voltages. D. The difference of the two input voltages. The correct answer is the difference of the two input voltages. Under which of the following conditions is the current gain? A. RO10RC. B. RB10RE. C. RO10RC and RB10RE. D. None of the above. The correct answer is RO10RC and RB10RE. The configuration is frequently used for impedance matching. A. Fixed bias. B. Voltage divider bias. C. Emitter follower. D. Collector feedback. The correct answer is emitter follower. Refer to this figure. You notice while servicing this amplifier that the output signal at Vout is reduced from normal. The problem could be caused by A. An open C3. B. An open C2. C. An open base emitter of Q2. D. A shorted C2. The correct answer is an open C2. When the bypass capacitor is removed from a common emitter amplifier, the voltage gain A. increases. B. decreases. C. has very little effect. D. The correct answer is decreases. Refer to this figure. Determine the value of Vc. A. 20V. B. 10V. C. 5V. D. 0V. The correct answer is 5V. In a common base amplifier, the input signal is connected to the A base. B. Collector. C. Emitter. D. Output. The correct answer is emitter. Which of the following are true to achieve a good overall voltage gain for the circuit? A. The effect of Rs and RL must be considered as a product. B. The effect of Rs and RL must be considered as a product and evaluated individually. C. The effect of Rs and RL must be evaluated individually. D. None of the above. The correct answer is the effect of Rs and RL must be considered as a product and evaluated individually. To analyze the common-emitter amplifier, what must be done to determine the DC equivalent circuit? A. Leave circuit unchanged. B. Replace coupling and bypass capacitors with opens. C. Replace coupling and bypass capacitors with shorts. D. Replace VCC with ground. The correct answer is replace coupling and bypass capacitors with opens. For the common-emitter amplifier AC equivalent circuit, all capacitors are A. Effectively shorts. B. Effectively open circuits. C. Not connected to ground. D. Connected to ground. The correct answer is effectively shorts. Refer to this figure. If an emitter bypass capacitor was installed, determine the value of R in base. A. 416. B. 5K. C. 50K. D. 500. The correct answer is 416. Under which of the following conditions is the output impedance of the network approximately equal to RC for a common emitter fixed bias configuration? A. RO10 RC. B. RO10 RC. C. RO. D. RO. The correct answer is RO10 RC. Which of the following gains is less than 1 for a common base configuration? A. AI. B. AV. C. AP. D. None of the above. The correct answer is AI. Which of the following defines the conversion efficiency? A. AC power to the load AC input power. B. AC power to the load DC power supplied. C. DC output power AC input power. D. All of the above. The correct answer is AC power to the load DC power supplied. The DC emitter current of a transistor is 8 mA. What is the value of RE? A. 320. B. 13.3 K. C. 3.125. D. 5.75. The correct answer is 3.125. Which of the following should be done to obtain the AC equivalent of a network? A. Set all DC sources to 0. B. Replace all capacitors by a short circuit equivalent. C. Remove all elements bypassed by the short circuit equivalent. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. Which of the following are true regarding the input impedance for frequencies in the midrange 100 kHz of a BJT transistor amplifier? A. The input impedance is purely resistive. B. It varies from a few ohms to megohms. C. An ohmmeter cannot be used to measure the small signal AC input impedance. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. For the collector DC feedback configuration, there is a phase shift between the input and output signals. A. 0. B. 45. C. 90. D. 180. The correct answer is 180. A common collector amplifier has input resistance, current gain and voltage gain. A. High low. B. High low. C. High low high. D. The correct answer is high low. Which of the following configurations has an output impedance ZO equal to RC? A. Fixed bias common emitter. B. Common emitter voltage divider with bypass capacitor. C. Common emitter voltage divider without bypass capacitor. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. Refer to this figure. Find the value of R in base. A 420. B 50K. C 940. D 100.8. The correct answer is 50K. For a common emitter amplifier, the purpose of the emitter bypass capacitor is A. No purpose since it is shorted out by Re. B. To reduce noise. C. To dissipate the supply voltage. D. To maximize amplifier gain. The correct answer is to maximize amplifier gain. For BJT amplifiers, the gain typically ranges from a level just less than 1 to a level that may exceed 1000. A. Voltage. B. Current. C. Impedance. D. All of the above. The correct answer is current. The loaded voltage gain of an amplifier is always more than the no-load level. A. True. B. False. C. D. The correct answer is false. Which of the following configurations has a voltage gain of RCRE? A. Fixed bias common emitter. B. Common emitter voltage divider with bypass capacitor. C. Fixed bias common emitter and voltage divider with bypass capacitor. D. Common emitter voltage divider without bypass capacitor. The correct answer is fixed bias common emitter and voltage divider with bypass capacitor. An emitter follower amplifier has an input impedance of 107K. The input signal is 12 mV. The approximate output voltage is common collector. A. 8.92 V. B. 112 mV. C. 12 mV. D. 8.9 mV. The correct answer is 12 mV. Which of the following is true regarding the output impedance for frequencies in the midrange 100 kHz of a BJT transistor amplifier? A. The output impedance is purely resistive. B. It varies from a few ohms to more than 2 ohm. C. An ohm meter cannot be used to measure the small signal AC output impedance. D. All of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. Refer to this figure. The output signal from the first stage of this amplifier is 0 V. The trouble could be caused by A. An open C4. B. An open C2. C. An open base emitter of Q1. D. A shorted C4. The correct answer is an open base emitter of Q1. What is the limit of the efficiency defined by POPI? A. Greater than 1. B. Less than 1. C. Always 1. D. None of the above. The correct answer is less than 1. What is Re equal to in terms of H parameters? A. H re HOE. B. H re 1 HOE. C. HIE H re HOE 1 H Phi. D. H Phi. The correct answer is H re HOE. What is the controlling current in a common base configuration? A. IE. B. IC. C. IB. D. None of the above. The correct answer is IE. Which of the following techniques can be used in the sinusoidal AC analysis of transistor networks? A. Small signal. B. Large signal. C. Small or large signal. D. None of the above. The correct answer is small or large signal. The input impedance of a BJT amplifier is purely in nature and can vary from a few to A. Resistive ohms megohms. B. Capacitive microfarads farads. C. Inductive millihenries henries. D. None of the above. The correct answer is resistive ohms megohms. The source resistance and or the load resistance, the less the overall gain of an amplifier. A. Smaller. B. Smaller larger. C. Larger smaller. D. Larger larger. The correct answer is larger smaller. Refer to this figure. If an emitter bypass capacitor was installed, what would the new AV be? A. 4.96. B. 125. C. 398. D. 600. The correct answer is 600. A Darlington pair provides beta for input resistance. A. Multiplication decreased. B. Multiplication increased. C. Division decreased. D. The correct answer is multiplication increased. A Darlington pair amplifier has A. High input impedance and high voltage gain. B. Low input impedance and low voltage gain. C. A voltage gain of about 1 and a low input impedance. D. A low voltage gain and a high input impedance. The correct answer is a low voltage gain and a high input impedance.